When billionaire Ethan Cole hires a new private chef, he never expects to meet Maya, the woman who disappeared from his life 6 years ago. Everything changes when her little boy walks into the kitchen, looks at Ethan and calls him Dad. Shocked by the truth, Ethan discovers he has a son, and a second chance with the woman he never stopped thinking about. But can love survive their painful past and the world that once tore them apart? A touching story of secrets, forgiveness, and a love that money could never buy. Hey family, welcome to True Life Stories. Please subscribe and give this video a like. It truly means the world to us. Don't forget to share it with your friends and loved ones, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thank you so much for the support. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's story. The ballroom glittered with golden chandeliers, soft violin music, and waiters gliding between tables. It was Ethan Cole's annual charity gala, the city's most talked about event. At 32, Ethan was one of the country's youngest billionaires. His empire spanned hotels, tech, and real estate. On the outside, he looked perfect, calm, confident, untouchable. But behind the tuxedo and smile, his heart was quietly tired. Every handshake felt fake. Every compliment, rehearsed. He had everything except something real. After hours of smiles, Ethan slipped away and wandered into the hotel kitchen. Pots clanged, pans sizzled, and the smell of roasted beef filled the air. Felt alive. That's where he saw her. A young woman in a white apron balanced 2 trays at once. When one began to tip, Ethan rushed forward. "Careful," he said, catching it just in time. "Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, sir," she gasped. Ethan chuckled. "It's all right. You nearly gave me a heart attack." She smiled shyly. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "Guests aren't allowed in the kitchen." "And yet here I am," Ethan replied. "I needed a break from the fake smiles out there." "So you came to where the real stress lives?" she teased. He laughed, genuinely for the first time that evening. "I'm Ethan." "Maya," she said, shaking his hand. Omething about her name felt soft in his mouth. "Maya." Ethan leaned on the counter, watching her work. "You're good at this." "I have to be," she said. "Rent doesn't pay itself." "You sound like someone who knows hard work." "I am someone who doesn't have another choice," she said quietly. That caught his attention. They talked as she prepared desserts. Cooking, she said, was her escape, her only safe place. Ethan found himself drawn to her honesty. When her shift ended, he walked her out into the cold night. "You don't have a car?" "Buses stopped an hour ago," she said, hugging her coat. "Let me give you a ride." "No, thank you. I'm fine," she replied, though her trembling hands said otherwise. "Maya, it's just a ride," he said softly. "I won't bite." She studied his face, saw kindness and loneliness, then nodded. The car ride was quiet. Slow jazz filled the silence. "You don't act like a billionaire," she said. "And how do billionaires act? Like they own the air we breathe." He smiled. "Maybe I'm different. Or maybe you just hide it better," she teased. They laughed, and warmth filled the air. When they reached her street, the road was flooded, impassable from heavy rain earlier that night. "Looks like we can't get through," Ethan said. "It's fine. I'll wait till morning." "You can't stay out here," he replied gently. "There's a hotel nearby. You'll be safe there for the night." After hesitation, she agreed. At the hotel, he booked her a room. But they kept talking about life, dreams, and everything in between. Hours passed like minutes. Then, in that quiet, something remarkable happened. A moment of closeness neither planned, but both felt deeply. The next morning, Ethan woke to find her gone. No note, no goodbye, just silence. He searched for days, then weeks, before giving up. He told himself it was just one night, not knowing that one night had created a life. 6 years passed. Ethan Cole's life grew larger. More money, meetings, and awards, yet more loneliness. His mansion was full of luxury but always felt empty. Sometimes he still thought about her, the young caterer with the shy smile and warm laugh. "Maya," He'd almost convinced himself she was just a dream. But life has a way of bringing the past back when you least expect it. One morning, Ethan's longtime chef resigned suddenly. "Sir, I've already hired a replacement," Mr. Howard said. "That quick?" Ethan asked. "Yes, sir. She came highly recommended. Her name's Maya Brooks." Ethan thought nothing of it. Maya was a common name. That afternoon, Maya arrived at the mansion. Her heart raced as she walked through the glass doors. The house was huge. Too big, too quiet. "You can do this, Maya," she whispered. "He won't even remember you." Her hair was shorter now, her movements calm. She had built a small catering career but needed this job to support her son, Liam. As she unpacked her things, a deep voice came from behind. "So you're the new chef?" Maya froze. It was Ethan, tall, confident, still impossibly handsome. Their eyes met. "Yes, sir," she said quickly. "Maya Brooks." He frowned slightly, the name stirring something in him. "Maya, Well, welcome aboard. Mr. Howard says you're good." "I'll do my best, sir." "Good." Ethan nodded and left. When he was gone, Maya sat down weakly. "He doesn't remember," she whispered. Thank God. But she wasn't sure if that was a blessing or a curse. Days passed. Maya worked quietly, but Ethan found reasons to visit the kitchen. "That smells amazing," he'd say. "Just chicken stew, sir. You make ordinary things taste extraordinary." "Maybe because I cook with a little hope." "Hope? That's rare these days." "It's the only one I can afford," she replied softly. Something about her voice tugged at him. Familiar, distant. One night, Ethan walked in for water. "You work too hard," he said. "That's the only way to survive, sir." "You remind me of someone I once knew," he said thoughtfully. "Oh? Who?" she asked. "A woman I met years ago at a charity event. She was a caterer too, then disappeared." "Maybe she had her reasons," Maya whispered. Ethan studied her face, then walked away. "Maybe," he said softly. Maya let out a shaky breath. He must never know. That night, she returned home to her small apartment. "Mommy!" Liam shouted, hugging her. "Did you behave today?" "Yes. I drew something for you." He handed her a crumpled drawing. Mother and son under the sun. "That's beautiful," she whispered. "You're my sunshine." "When will I meet your boss?" he asked sleepily. "He's busy, sweetheart. Maybe someday." "Can he cook like you?" "Not even close," she laughed. After tucking him in, she studied his face. His eyes, his dimple, his birthmark. "You look so much like your father," she whispered. "If only you knew." Back at the mansion, Ethan stared at the night sky. He couldn't stop thinking about his new chef. Her voice, her eyes, her name. "Maya," he said under his breath. He didn't know why, but the name stirred something deep inside him. Somewhere across the city, that same name echoed in Maya's heart, as if fate itself was holding its breath. The morning sun poured through the mansion's wide glass windows, spreading golden light across the marble floor. Ethan sat at the breakfast table, reading the day's business reports while sipping black coffee. Maya was in the kitchen as usual, quiet, steady, focused. But today, her heart was racing for a different reason. Her son, Liam, was sitting outside in a small car driven by her friend Clara. Normally, Clara watched him while Maya worked. But that morning, Clara had to run a quick errand and promised to come back soon. "Please, just stay in the car, Liam," Maya had begged before stepping inside the mansion. "I will, Mommy," he'd said, holding his little toy car. But 6-year-olds have curious hearts. After waiting for a few minutes, Liam got bored. The gate was open, and the big house looked like something out of a storybook. "Maybe I can see where Mommy works," he whispered to himself, hopping out of the car. He tiptoed inside, his tiny shoes making soft sounds on the polished floor. The guards were busy with deliveries, so no one noticed him as he wandered toward the smell of pancakes. Inside the kitchen, Maya hummed softly while flipping pancakes on the pan. Her back was turned when a small voice piped up behind her. "Mommy!" She spun around so fast that the spatula almost fell from her hand. "Liam," she gasped. "What are you doing here? I told you to stay in the car." "I was bored, Mommy," he said, clutching his toy. "I wanted to see where you cook." Maya glanced around nervously. If anyone saw him, she could lose her job. "Sweetheart, you can't be here," she whispered. "Please, before." Too late. From behind her, a calm voice said, "And who might this little man be?" Maya froze again. Ethan stood at the doorway, his cup of coffee in hand, watching them. Her heart nearly stopped. "Sir, I can explain," she stammered. "It's okay," Ethan said, smiling slightly as he knelt to the boy's level. "Hey, buddy, what's your name?" "Liam," the boy replied confidently. "Nice to meet you, Liam. I'm Ethan." The billionaire's tone was warm, almost fatherly. But as he looked closer, something strange happened. Liam's bright brown eyes, the dimple when he smiled, the small birthmark near his neck. Ethan's chest tightened. He stared, confused, then glanced up at Maya. Her face was pale, eyes wide, lips trembling. "He looks familiar," Ethan said softly. "Almost like." Before he could finish, Liam tilted his head and said with childlike innocence, "You look like me." Ethan blinked. "What?" "Mommy said my daddy isn't around." "But you look like me," Liam said seriously. Then, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, he smiled brightly and said, "Are you my dad?" The words struck like lightning. Maya dropped the spatula, her eyes filling with tears. "Liam, that's not." But Ethan's voice cut softly through the silence. "What did you say?" he asked, his gaze locked on her. "It's nothing, sir," Maya whispered quickly. "He's just a child. He doesn't understand." "No, Maya," Ethan said, standing slowly. "I think I need to understand." The air between them thickened. Ethan's heartbeat roared in his ears. Memories flooded back. That night, 6 years ago, the charity event, her sudden disappearance. "You're that Maya," he said in disbelief. "The caterer from the foundation gala." Maya's eyes filled with tears. She nodded weakly. "Yes." Ethan turned to Liam again, his expression softening but confused. "Maya," he said quietly, "is he mine?" Her lips trembled. She didn't answer at first. Liam looked between them, sensing the tension but too young to understand it. "Mommy?" he whispered. "Why are you crying?" Maya knelt beside him, pulling him into her arms. "It's okay, baby," she said softly. Then she looked up at Ethan. "Yes," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. "He's yours." Ethan's breath caught. The world seemed to tilt. "Mine?" he repeated quietly. Maya nodded again. "I didn't want to tell you. You had your life, your dreams, and I didn't want to be your burden." Ethan took a slow step closer, his voice trembling. "A burden? Maya, I searched for you for months after that night. I thought you didn't care." "I cared too much," she said, her voice breaking. "You were out of my world, Ethan. I couldn't raise him in yours." For a long moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the ticking of the kitchen clock and Liam's soft breathing. Finally, Ethan knelt beside them both. He gently reached out, brushing a tear from Maya's cheek, then looked at the boy, really looked at him. "Hi, Liam," he said softly. "I think we have a lot to talk about." The little boy grinned, innocent and happy. "So, you are my dad?" Ethan smiled through misty eyes. "Yes, buddy. I think I am." Maya sobbed quietly, her emotions a mix of fear and relief. And in that quiet, fragile moment, a billionaire who thought he had everything discovered the one thing he never knew he was missing: family. After that shocking morning, the mansion fell into heavy silence. Ethan canceled his meetings for the day. His mind wasn't in business mode anymore. It was spinning around one truth that had shaken his world. He had a son, Liam, his son. He sat in the study, staring blankly at a framed photo of himself on the desk. His reflection in the glass suddenly looked different, older, lonelier, and more human. Outside the study door, Maya stood nervously, her heart pounding. She'd been summoned. Ethan wanted to talk. She wiped her eyes and whispered to herself, "You can do this. You owe him the truth." She stepped inside. Ethan looked up from his chair. His eyes were calm but unreadable. "Sit down, Maya," he said quietly. She sat, folding her trembling hands on her lap. There was a long pause before Ethan spoke again. "Why didn't you tell me?" Maya swallowed hard. "Because I was scared, Ethan." "Scared of what? Me?" he asked, his tone low. She nodded slowly. "Back then I was nobody, a small-town caterer. You were already famous, powerful. That night meant something to me, but I thought it was just one night for you." Ethan frowned, his chest tightening. "Maya, I would never have walked away if I'd known." She looked up, eyes wet. "I wanted to tell you, but the morning after, your security team wouldn't let me near you. They said you were traveling abroad for months. I waited, but you never called. Then I found out I was pregnant." Ethan leaned forward. "Pregnant? And alone?" Maya nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. "Yes, I lost my catering job because I was showing. My parents disowned me. I had nothing, Ethan. I took whatever work I could find just to keep us alive." Ethan clenched his jaw, guilt flooding through him. "You suffered while He stopped, his voice breaking. "While I was sitting in my penthouse thinking you'd forgotten me." Maya looked down. "I didn't forget. I just didn't fit into your world." He stood up suddenly, pacing. "You think I care about worlds, Maya? I care about truth. You should have told me I had a son." Her voice cracked as she replied, "And what would you have done, Ethan? Taken him away from me? Raised him among bodyguards and business deals? I didn't want that for him. I wanted him to have a normal childhood, not one lived in the shadow of a billionaire's name." That made Ethan stop. Her words hit hard because they were true. For years, he had been surrounded by money, cameras, and people who smiled for gain. What did he know about a simple, peaceful life? He exhaled slowly, his tone softening. "You did what you thought was right." Maya wiped her face, whispering, "I did what I had to." There was silence again, heavy, emotional, but somehow healing. Then Ethan asked quietly, "Does he know anything about me?" She shook her head. "Only that his father is far away. I told him his dad was a good man, but life kept us apart." Ethan's eyes softened. "You told him I was good?" Maya gave a small, sad smile. "Because, deep down, I believed it." He stared at her for a moment, the anger in his eyes fading into something gentler, something like regret and admiration mixed together. "Maya," he said, "I'm not proud of the man I was. I buried myself in work, thinking love only made life messy. But looking at him today, I realized I've missed the most beautiful years of my life." Maya lowered her eyes. "He's a wonderful boy, Ethan. Kind, curious, and strong. Everything I ever hoped he'd be." "Can I see him again?" Ethan asked softly. She hesitated. "He's still young. I don't want to confuse him." "I understand," Ethan said. "But I want to be in his life, Maya. Not as a stranger who pays bills, but as his father." Her breath caught. The sincerity in his voice broke the walls she had built for years. "You really mean that?" she whispered. "Yes, I've spent my life buying everything. Companies, properties, respect. But for the first time I found something I can't buy. My son." Tears streamed down Maya's cheeks. For the first time in years, she saw not Ethan the billionaire, but Ethan the man, broken, honest, and yearning. She nodded slowly. "Okay, but please go slow. Let him get to know you one step at a time." Ethan nodded. "I promise." A soft knock came at the door. Liam peeked in, holding his toy car. "Mommy, are you okay?" Maya smiled through her tears. "Yes, baby. Come here." He ran to her, and Ethan watched in quiet awe as Maya hugged him tightly. Liam looked up at Ethan curiously. "Mommy said you're my dad." Ethan knelt and smiled gently. "That's right, buddy. Can we play cars together?" the boy asked eagerly. Ethan's smile widened, his voice thick with emotion. "I'd love to." Maya watched as Ethan joined Liam on the floor, helping him roll his toy car across the carpet. For the first time, there was laughter in the room, soft, pure, and real. And in that moment, Maya knew something had changed forever. The walls between their worlds were finally beginning to crumble. Over the next few days, Ethan found every excuse to spend time with Liam. They played cards in the living room, baked cookies in the kitchen, and even fed the mansion's fish together. Liam's laughter filled the house, a sound Ethan hadn't realized he'd been missing his whole life. "You drive too slow, Daddy," Liam teased one afternoon. "Oh, really?" Ethan laughed. "Watch this turbo speed." Maya watched from the doorway, smiling softly. Seeing them together was both beautiful and bittersweet. Ethan was everything Liam needed: kind, patient, and protective. That night, Ethan sat beside Maya in the kitchen. "I missed 6 years of his life," he said quietly. "I can't get that time back, but I want to make the rest count." "He already loves you," she said. "You're doing fine." He turned to her. "I want you both to have a better life, Maya. Not charity, a family." Her eyes widened. "Ethan, let me take care of you too," he said softly. "Not because I pity you, but because I finally know what it means to love." Maya's heart raced. She saw the sincerity in his eyes. Not the billionaire's charm, but a man's genuine promise. "Okay," she whispered, "but let's take it one day at a time." Ethan smiled, holding her hand gently. "That's all I need. One day at a time together." From the hallway, Liam peeked in, giggling. "Mommy, Daddy's holding your hand." They both burst into laughter, the tension melting away. And for the first time, Ethan didn't feel like a billionaire in a mansion. He felt like a man who finally had something real to live for. For weeks, everything felt perfect. Ethan spent his mornings working and his evenings with Maya and Liam. The mansion, once cold and silent, now echoed with laughter. But deep inside, Maya was scared. She had seen how people around Ethan treated her differently. The whispers, the judgmental looks. One afternoon, while cooking, she overheard 2 maids whispering, "She's just lucky. The boss will get bored soon. Yeah, he'll move on like he always does." The words stung. That night, she pulled away from Ethan. "Maya, what's wrong?" he asked. "Maybe we're too different," she said softly. "You're rich, I'm not. People talk." Ethan sighed, stepping closer. "Let them talk. They don't know us. They know your world, Ethan. I've seen how it works. Love doesn't survive in it." He reached for her hand, his eyes sincere. "Then let's build our own world. Just us and Liam." She wanted to believe him, but fear still lingered. That night, as rain fell outside, Ethan stood by the window and whispered to himself, "I'll prove her wrong. I'll prove love doesn't need a price tag." A week later, Ethan's world was shaken. A gossip blog posted photos of him, Maya, and Liam with the headline, "Billionaire's Secret Family?" The media storm hit fast. Reporters camped outside his mansion. Investors called, worried about his image. Maya panicked. "I told you this would happen," she cried. "They'll ruin your reputation." Ethan held her shoulders gently. "I don't care about my reputation, Maya. I care about you and our son." "You'll lose everything," she said. "Then let it go. None of it means anything without you too." His words silenced her. For the first time, she saw how much he'd changed. Not the proud billionaire she once knew, but a man willing to risk it all for love. That night, Ethan released a public statement. "Yes, I have a son. Yes, I love his mother. They are my family, and I will protect them. Always." Maya read his words through tears. "He meant it," she whispered. "He really meant it." Months passed. The storm faded. The media lost interest, and life slowly found peace again. Ethan no longer cared about headlines or business rumors. His focus was on family. Every morning, Liam raced into his room shouting, "Daddy, wake up! Pancake time!" And every night, Ethan tucked him in, whispering, "I love you, champ." Maya, now more confident than ever, managed her own small catering company. with Ethan's full support but her own name on the door. One quiet evening, as the three sat on the porch watching the sunset, Ethan took Maya's hand. "You were right," he said softly. "Love can't be bought. It has to be built, one day at a time." She smiled. "And we're building something beautiful." Liam climbed onto his lap, grinning. "Are we a real family now?" Ethan laughed, hugging them both tightly. "The realest there ever was." As the sky turned gold, Maya rested her head on Ethan's shoulder, peace filling her heart at last. They had walked through pain, secrets, and storms, but love had rewritten their story. We've come to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories.